and Happy New Year. I'm starting this. Happy New Year 2025. How did we get here? We survived somehow. And welcome to the reading wrap up for December. And this is January, and again 2025. Confusing, but we got here. New here? Hi, I'm Milo. I remembered to do it at the start of the video this time. And welcome to December's reading wrap up, which I think I probably already said, but I'm saying it again. For those of you who are returning, which evidently probably isn't that many of you, because you're mostly over the TikTok compilations, but look what I got. Look what I got. I hope you can see it. Yeah, that's the, if you don't know what I'm pointing at the Introverts poster and the Downfall and Tiny Horse calendar, which I'm very happy with. I got multiple different things. Since some of you might not be aware, well, a lot of you probably aren't aware, my birthday is in December as well as Christmas, so I got a lot of stuff, including this jumper, which I got for Christmas, which says, books are my love language, which I thought was appropriate, and I'd really like. Another thing which I got for Christmas, which was quite shocking, which I thought was mentioning, was this cushion. Because, thanks Mum. This isn't a birthday / Christmas haul, this is books. So, right. So what did I read? I read 11 books in December, and I started with my monthly rereads of The Amazing Book Is Not on Fire and Downfall Go Outside. If you aren't aware, if you're new here and you aren't aware, I reread Tabanoff and Go every single month because I enjoy them and they bring me joy. Not really anything else to say, I just read them and I enjoyed them. The next book I read was the 30th volume of Seraph of the End, Vampire Reign. I won't go into too much detail about this because obviously it's the 30th volume in an ongoing series. But basically a plague has wiped out everyone over the age of 8, I think, and during that time, and because of that, vampires have taken over the human race, and we follow a kid who was enslaved by the vampires and then escapes. There's a whole lot more to it than just that, but I can't go into too much detail because then I'd be spoiling it. I really enjoyed it, and I forgot to mention I rated this 4 stars, which it should be said is, I think, the first time I've rated one of these volumes 4 stars, because I will be honest with you, it goes a little weird. Anyway, after that, I read the 8th issue of My Hero Academia, which I won't go into too much detail again because it's the 8th issue, and I think everyone knows about My Hero Academia at this point, so yeah. After I read the 8th issue, I read the 9th one as well, and again, not too much information because, again, they're series, and I rated both of those 4 stars. After I read MHA Volume 9, I read Pole Position by Rebecca J. Caffrey, which is the first ever sports romance I have ever read about F1 sports romance that is queer, which is always fun. I rated this 3.5 stars, which honestly is slightly disappointing because I was very excited to read this one. Mainly because my dad and my sister both really like F1, so I thought maybe this was my gateway into the sport. And, throw a little romance into it. Not really on. The couple was a bit wishy-washy, to put it bluntly, and I can't remember what either of the main characters are called, so, clearly made a bit of possession. I don't actually have the book with me because my sister has it, and I don't really want to ask her for it, because that would feel awkward. I feel like they needed to there was, like, a lot of miscommunication at the start, and, like, the start of it made sort of sense, because, like, one of them needs to be defensive, and they make sense why they don't talk at first, because they've got issues and a lot of things they need to work through, but the situation when they start, like, getting romantically involved with each other, they seem to have had those conversations, like, off page, which I feel doesn't really contract anything to the plot, because it didn't feel like they developed much as a couple, and honestly didn't really like them together that much, because it felt very all over the place, to put it bluntly. But to say that my prior knowledge to F1 was the Cars movies, Turbo, and whatever Dan Howell briefly talks about in videos, and what stuff I glean over from my dad and siblings' shoulders when they watch it, it wasn't too hard to understand. And the stuff I didn't understand, I was able to talk to my dad about, which was always nice. It was fun talking with my dad about it, but overall, I'm not keeping this book right now. My sister's has it, and I think it's probably going to stay there. After I read Pole Position, I read The Gentle Art of Fortune Hunting by K.J. Charles, which is a historical romance. Basically, Robin is trying to court Hart's niece, because she's going to get a lot of money when she gets married. And obviously, because he's a fortune hunter, and that's what fortune hunters do. I should probably explain, fortune hunters marry people to get money, from what I've gleaned from the 2 historical romances I've read recently. One of them coming up later, so stay tuned. Considering this is the first historical romance that I've read in the Regency era that wasn't written by Jane Austen, so obviously it was a lot more understandable than Pride and Prejudice, I can tell you that much. And obviously it's already a queer romance as well, because obviously Hart, and slightly, I wouldn't say it's enemies to lovers, because in my mind, unless you're trying to stab each other, it's not really enemies, but there's definitely a lot of animosity between Hart and Robin, which is very refreshing to read. And when they started to understand each other, it did feel like a natural progression with things. I don't know if I said this already, but I rated this 4 stars, and I will pick up the next one at some point, don't know when. Alright, the next book I read was God Killer by Hannah, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Kana? Probably pronounced that wrong, which is the start of the Fallen's Gods trilogy, and it read like that. You can tell that it's full of a lot of world building, and it's also split between 4 different points of view. So there's a lot of gods, and recently the king has declared that no one should worship the gods anymore, because and one of the main characters is a god killer. That's how she makes her living, which is called Kissen. Now, Kissen, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but that is how I read it. So basically, she goes out and takes down gods and destroys shrines, because worshipping gods is forbidden and obviously illegal. And then one day she comes across a little girl who has somehow found herself bound to a god, and the god doesn't remember why, because he has amnesia, and if they go too far apart, it hurts them. And now Kissen is basically stuck with her to try and figure out what to do. So they have to head off to the city called Blenraden, which I might be pronouncing wrong, which is basically a city of gods, to try and figure out how to unban them and how to help them. So basically it's their journey plus one other person, who I won't spoil, heading to this city and bonding along the way. There's a lot of world building in this, because obviously it is the start of a trilogy, and a side plot of romance, and obviously and disabled representation, which is really, really fun. Kissen is missing a leg, which I won't say it's too much of a spoiler, because they do detail how she loses the leg in the prologue, which is 2 or 3 pages. Okay, so it's four pages, but like, yeah. But there's really good discipline. Well, I say really good. I'm myself am not disabled as far as I'm aware, so it might be really bad. But from what I've seen online around this book, it's been that people like the disabled representation for Kissin and her two friends who are side characters who are also disabled. One of them is in a wheelchair and another one who's deaf, which is always nice when you get representation for things. Also, Kissin is bisexual, like me, if you weren't aware. Well, you won't be aware. I'm bisexual. Shockingly, which is always fun to read about. And I don't remember if I said this or not, but I rated it 4 stars. The next thing I read was The Perks of Loving a Wallflower by Erica Ridley, which is another historical romance set in the Regency era. And this is actually technically, I think, the 3rd book in a series, because, well, I mean, I think it was the 2nd one published, but there's a prequel book, it's very long. This is in the Wild Winchester series, book 2. As I said, there's technically the 3rd book in the series, though, because there's a prequel book to the first one. Why did I pick up book 2? Because I found it in a charity shop, and I didn't know it was a sequel. And I don't think you necessarily need to read the first book. I think I'm going to go back and read it, because you get snippets of the couple from the first book in this one. And they seem really cute together, so I want to see the story of how they got together. But anyway, so basically this book series, from what I can gather, follows a family member from these groups of adoptive children who are adopted by this baron. 6 adoptive children, the Winchesters. This book follows the character of Thomasina Winchester, or Tommy, which is this one. How she is a master of disguises and is in love with this very smart blue-stocking wallflower called Philippa. I don't mean less creepy than the Dannon Phil ego. And obviously they can't be together because it's the Regency era, so they have to... So Tommy wears a disguise to court Philippa, though really at first Philippa's mother uses Tommy as a stepping stone to try and gain better seducers, but Philippa's not really interested in anyone, which I think you can glean as to why she's not interested in anyone. This book surprised me, because I thought it would just, well, I mean, I think it would be like a forbidden sapphic romance, obviously, but it's a little bit more than that because of Tommy's as a character, which I won't spoil too much of because it's not on the back, and obviously this is a sequel. But Tommy's character was really interesting to me, and I enjoyed reading about her and the representation that we get out of her character. Specifically, like, she's more than just a Regency lady who manages to do disguises really well, and I really enjoyed reading about that. A little bit, this is dual POV, but it's in 3rd person, I'm pretty sure, so dual POV, so it's a little tricky to figure out which, who's talking about who, but I did generally enjoy this, and I will be trying to find the other books. And I don't remember if I said this or not, but this is a 4 stars. And, like, the final 2 books that I read this month, which I feel like I should definitely mention together, is they're both only 88 pages and they are linked together, which I mainly read and more so bought out of nostalgia than, like, anything else, which is Lego Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu Build Your Own Adventure, and Lego Masters of Spinjitzu Build Your Own Adventure Greatest Ninja Tales, which at first I thought that they were going to be like a choose your own adventure thing, but instead it's I mean, originally it came with a minifigure. I bought these second-hand, so I don't have the minifigure, but so it includes instructions of how to build the minifigure, like the little mini mech things, and then it explains to you how it works. It gives credit to the builder who helped design the thing, and basically it gives you model sets for like different things to do with the Ninjago, and I presume they do this for all of the Lego franchises, and they tell you and basically explain how to build these different things, and so the plot's very loose and doesn't always make a lot of sense because it's mainly just trying to get people to build the sets without needing to buy them in a way, but to put their own creative flair in it, and they give an explanation for how the different pieces of Lego are called and to make it easier to build them. So it'll break down a random like scene into like what they're made of and like encourage readers to build them, which I thought was really interesting and creative. But I did rate both of these 3 stars because they are children's books and mainly for building thing, and I did buy them mainly for nostalgia, but I really enjoyed them again for the nostalgia mostly. But yeah, that is everything I read in December. And generally, this is where I would end the video. But there's there's a few more things actually that I want to say. One of those things being is that I decided to start doing a reading journal, which is fun. I won't. So and honestly, I just kind of wanted to show it off. So this is the 25 books I want to read in 2025. I run out of a bit of room, so there's a lot of layering. And I've done a ratings page, and I did a bookshelf to draw, like, obviously the books, and I put a reading goal up in the top. And this is a series tracker, but I think I'm going to have to start another page. The reason that this is blank and this is blank is because, well, Seraph of the End is still ongoing, and Oral Histories is a very big series because there's a lot of history. So this is another reading tracker for the books that I'm starting this month, and this is the little infographic that I did for January. I figured at the end of each of these wrap-ups I'd show off the different spreads that I did for each month. And that's kind of it, honestly, because I want to do this and I enjoy making it. That's one of the things I wanted to say. Another thing I wanted to say is that this month something exciting is happening, not necessarily to do with me, but I'm going to it, is that this month is the last leg of the Terrible Influence tour, which, if you don't know, is Dan and Phil's tour, so they're doing the UK leg, and then they're doing the final European shows, which I'm very excited for, because I'm going to be going to the one on the 28th, which is the Newcastle show, and I'm very excited for, because I managed to get, as of right now, tickets for the Q&A, which I'm very excited for. And a thing I did for this tour was that I made this, not the teddy bear, the tiny hoodie. I made a tiny version of the Terrible Influence tour hoodie. It's not exactly perfect because I had to make it tiny, and the font they used for the hoodie is very hard to copy. But yeah, I mainly just wanted to show it off because I'm really proud of it. And, you know, he's coming with me. The bear. This is Sleepy Bear. He's the character in the icon. But with me going to the Terrible Influence tour, I will probably end up doing this anyway, but if you're interested, would you be interested in a vlog? I'm going to record the Q&A, probably, and then post it on here, probably the next day, because I'll be exhausted, because the show's, I think, probably 2 hours long, so, and obviously I need to head home almost instantly afterwards, but yeah, I'm really excited. To be the first time I'm going to be able to go to one of the tours, because I joined the fandom in 2019, which is the year during the hiatus and right after Introvert, so I've always had, and I wasn't able to go to Doomed because we couldn't afford it, so I've always had really bad FOMO for it, and I'm really excited to be in a giant room with a bunch of other fannies and just enjoying the show. And I think my mum might also be coming because, but that's to be determined. But yeah, so if you're interested in a vlog of the day, I don't know how long it will be. I don't know if I'll actually record a vlog, but I currently have this idea for it, and if I do it, I'll try and get that up probably, I don't know, a day or two afterwards. It won't include anything of the actual show because that's bad theatre etiquette, and you shouldn't record theatre shows. But like the journey there, like thoughts in the morning, because it is actually on a day that I have college, so that'll be fun. I'm probably going to have to skip a couple classes to get to the train on time, but that's a me problem. And yeah, but that's everything I wanted to talk about. Oh wait, no, one more thing. I know I said two, but there's a third one. Basically, this year I only think I've read like 1 or 2 books in January, so there's a big possibility, because I don't know, I wasn't feeling it, so there's a big possibility that the next reading wrap up for January and possibly February will either be together or as a short, depending on how much I read. Hopefully we'll get at least 5 books. I'm hoping 4 or 5, but we'll see. But that is basically everything. Now that is everything. But anyway, thank you for watching, and Happy New Year again. Thank you for staying with me, and I hope you had a good Christmas and holidays, or whatever you celebrate. And I hope, if you're in America, that a certain someone, can't say that, but if you're in America, I hope you're alright. You'll get through this. And obviously everywhere else in the world as well. I have to go. Bye.